Good morning. Welcome to Orlando and the 2013 CII Annual Conference. And now please welcome this year's conference chair, Executive Vice President of Zachry Holdings Incorporated, Keith Manning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. How's everybody this morning? Happy to have everyone in lovely Orlando, and big crowd out here. It's nice room, big room. I think we're going to have a couple of good days for you. So welcome to the 30th Annual CII Conference. Big deal, 30 years we've been in business. And, I think first, how about a round of applause? We're going to do a lot of clapping this morning, so save some of that. But I think first, thank you for coming, and thanks for your companies, our companies, for investing their money and really for investing time for you to come as well. So obviously, we are the most precious assets of our organizations, and them committing your time is great. So this year's theme, of course, is celebrating 30 years of leadership, research, collaboration, and improvement. And we worked pretty hard on that theme, and I think it accurately reflects really what CII has been about for 30 years, and probably more importantly, what it's going to be about for the next 30 years. So everybody enjoyed the reception last night? That was fun. Jewel, great job by the staff, and I think I saw Wayne Crew up there doing some of those fancy moves, but it's probably not going to help his golf game any. But speaking of golf, those who participated, I'd like to thank Randy Abdallah from Wallbridge. We had a great tournament yesterday, really lovely golf course, and I think golf is always a great outing and a great way to get it started. So thank you, Randy, for that. So I'm really pleased. It's an honor to be chairing this year's conference, and I've had the pleasure of being with CII for many years. Sharon and I have been to, we quit counting, but we think we've been to about 26 or 27 annual conferences. So I remember the first one that I went to was back in Snowmass and Beaver Creek and places like that. So it's great to be back, and I think this is a magnificent venue. So we've got a great group of folks. We have now a record attendance. So after 30 years, you start setting some records. We've always set a lot of records in safety, but this year is a record attendance. So we have 703 registered attendees. So that's a big deal. So that's worth applause too. So in addition to the 30th year anniversary of CII, a record attendance, a great venue, I like to think that some of the response and some of the folks that are here as a result of our markets looking pretty good. So Jim Gallagher is going to talk a little bit later on in his keynote, but it's nice that I think many of us are starting to realize the benefits of an emerging North American energy market. So it's good times in this business, generally, certainly in North American energy. Jim's going to talk about that. So I think that's all coming together. So certainly my intent, the staff, all of CII, the executive committee, our intent is for you to have a great 2 days, and we're going to have a little bit of fun as well. So before we get started, obviously we're an organization of safe organization, safe company. Safety is certainly paramount and tantamount. So maybe start briefly with a safety moment. Although we're not going to be in a plant or at a project today, there's still safety hazards associated with even meetings. So I would encourage you to, one, drink a lot of water. It's hot out there, and we all get dehydrated in here sitting in the meeting. So we got plenty of refreshments outside, plenty of water, so be sure and drink your water. We'll be seated a lot. Use good posture. I think as we've gotten older, all of our backs are not quite as sturdy as they used to be, so sit up straight, stretch a little bit, and Sharon reminds me, do not lean back in the chairs. I'm horrible at leaning back in chairs, so try not to lean back in your chair. I'd also ask that you, during the breaks, when you break, we'll have the lights down a lot for the plenary session, so I would encourage you, when you try to come back into the main room here, is try to get in before it gets dark, and to reduce the tripping hazards. So please do that, and then really just take advantage of the breaks themselves. Again, we have the facilities, the men's and ladies' rooms are right outside. We'll have plenty of refreshments. It's a great opportunity to network, stretch a little bit, refresh yourself. So take care of yourself, and if you see somebody, for heaven's sake, that looks like they need a little help, as we all do from time to time, please either let us know or intervene on yourself. So with that, going to do a quick orientation on this room for evacuation purposes. I am happy to report there are no hurricanes in the Gulf, so we're safe from that standpoint. So you'll see from the map here that we're in the Coquina Ballroom. There is not any practice alarms scheduled to go off, so if we do hear some alarms, it's a real deal. Don't think that will happen at all. But of course, if something happens, you hear alarms, calmly exit the building, safely go outside. So where these exit signs are, 1, 2, 3, 4, green, just head out there calmly, orderly. We'll go outside, meet out front of the hotel. And so that'll be our evacuation. Agenda. I'm not going to go over today's agenda completely, but it just suffice it to say it's very full. So I think everybody's got their pocket programs, and I would just call your attention to today. Tuesday, we've got a full day. We've got a couple of keynotes. We have some great plenary sessions. We'll have implementation sessions, lunch, plenty of networking opportunities, and then we will conclude tonight with the Dunn Award Dinner, which is really a fabulous event. I know many of you have been to the Dunn Award Dinner before. It's a great thing. So we'll go through a little more detail later on, but if you want to consult your agenda, it's in various forms. I find the pocket agenda really fantastic. Bit of housekeeping. So I think most of you have seen these as well. So these are the guidelines for our meetings and conferences. I'm not going to read all that, but you'll see many of the appropriate professional conduct, maybe a couple of things just to pick out. One, not to disparage the goods or services of any particular company or companies. So certainly be professional in the way we conduct ourselves, talk to each other. And then toward the bottom, where there's no marketing activities, right, CII encourages networking and the building of business relationships, but no overt marketing or selling. So I'd appreciate you continuing to follow these guidelines as you certainly always have. So I think we want to reflect backward a little bit before we go forward. So obviously, in light of this year's 30th anniversary, we thought it appropriate to look back over the 30 years and reflect a bit on where we came from as an organization. So we have a very brief video. It's only about 35 minutes. So no, it's about 4 minutes. So a very brief video that highlights some of the history of CII and kind of helps us reflect back on that and helps us as we think about what the next 30 years will look like. So Artie, if you would please, we'll roll the video.
Tied off. No accidents out here. 0. You copy? You copy that. 0.
30 years ago, the construction industry was battling on several fronts. The runaway inflation at the time wasn't helping. There was labor unrest, fatalities, too many injuries, and bad projects over budget and behind schedule. A contentious, arm's-length existence between owners and contractors meant a lack of trust. And a lack of trust meant things weren't moving forward. The automotive and aerospace industries were pouring money into research. Not so construction. It was unchanging, doing things the way they'd always been done. But it couldn't last. Not if the industry wanted to compete. And so something happened. And it started at the University of Texas at Austin. A professor of civil engineering there, Dr. Richard L. Tucker, had just completed a productivity study for Texaco. And the big company liked it, saw the potential for university-based research. So other companies were called to a meeting to explore this idea of construction research. 28 pioneering companies from both the owner and contractor sides agreed it was time. Time to join together and fund research so that the industry and the nation could compete on a global scale. The result was the creation of the Construction Industry Institute, CII. Today, we celebrate 30 years of research, and the construction industry is better for it. Because no other industry has so much impact on the quality of life around the world. Plants are built, infrastructure rises, and we advance with better living and a better tomorrow. Construction's always been a tough business. Much of it's done outdoors and it can be dangerous. But safety records are improving. Projects are coming in with 0 injuries, on budget and on schedule, even though they're more complicated than ever. In the beginning, Dr. Tucker knew that he needed help, and he sought the expertise of other universities and their faculties. But he also tapped into a man whose experience in construction, in project management, in business, in large projects, in government agencies was unmatched. Lieutenant General Carroll H. Dunn. In 1983, he had just completed leading a 5-year study of the construction industry for the Business Roundtable. And General Dunn would be an inspiration and a guiding light as the Institute began to change the nation's largest industry. CII named its Award of Excellence, its highest honor, for Carroll H. Dunn. Today, the work at CII in many ways is similar to those early efforts 30 years ago, but it's grown. Those 28 members now number more than 130 global leaders. Research is still key. It's carried out at over 30 of America's top universities, giving professors and graduate students the opportunity to find better ways to build our world. But CII isn't just research. It's implementing research findings. It's creating implementation champions and communities of practice. The benchmarking effort is measuring project performance as data is input and analyzed in the performance assessment system. There's webinars and streaming videos. CII has reason to celebrate. What began at the University of Texas with Dr. Tucker and productivity studies and faculty and students wanting to contribute has changed the industry for the greater good. For better projects, safer working environments, and a record of achievement that makes everyone involved at CII very proud. Congratulations, CII, on 30 great years.
You like that? Pretty good, isn't it? So a little look back. So 30 years ago, one of the things we also thought about is what the heck was going on 30 years ago. So we're going to use this time as a little learning session, a little history lesson, as well as a quick primer on the ARS system. So probably many of you have used the audience response system. So we've got a tutorial here. We're going to use ARS. We've got a few questions and really want to kind of take ourselves back 30 years ago and, what was going on at various times around the world, around the United States, when Richard Tucker and a bunch of visionaries were really starting CII. So if you would grab your ARS system. Now, if there's not one, there should be one of the clickers around you. We have some clickers that are kind of farther out in the chair, so if you don't have a clicker, you might want to get one of your friends to bring it over to you, but hopefully everybody's got one. So let's start and see if we can learn something a little bit here. So, first one is, what turns 30 years old in 2013? Chicken McNugget, a Dodge minivan, Michael Jackson's moonwalk, the CII, or all of the above. So if you would please vote now. Just punch the associated letter number. You can see the responses coming in. Okay. So, yes, very bright crowd. You are right. All of the above. That was the easy one. Pretty big year. Next one for you golfers. So, reach back and think about 1983. So, who won the British Open in 1983? One of my all-time favorites, Seve Ballesteros, Tom Watson, who, of course, he's got a lot of jugs, Sandy Lyle, Greg Norman, or Glenn Gelke. Probably you didn't realize Glenn was in the British Open several times in his early part of his career. So if you would vote on who you think and who you remember won the British Open in '83. And wow, nobody, you didn't get me votes, Glenn. So Tom Watson, and that is correct. So we have a lot of good students of golf history. Absolutely, Tom. I think that was his second or third British Open winner. All right, next question. Little technology. So obviously we have folks from FIA Tech, and there'll be technological presentations over the next few days, so we wanted to reflect on technology a bit. Excuse me. So what breakthroughs 30 years ago happened in 1983? The development of Microsoft Word, the publishing of Microsoft Word, Lotus 1-2-3, the always famous Swatch Watch, the internet, or all of the above. So if you would vote. And you're right as well. That was a big year. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's really interesting to think about, that the internet really took its first step. Obviously, Lotus 1-2-3, Word, a lot of the things that have materialized to great software that we use today. So here's one for you financial folks. Everybody's always interested in their finances. We'll have a great economic speaker tomorrow that will help us figure out not only where our companies are going, but where our 401ks are going. But what do you think the Dow ended 1983 at in terms of at year end? So year end 1983. Pretty broad cross-section there. The actual number was 1258. That's amazing, isn't it? It's come a long ways. Lots of movement, 1258 to what it is today. And our final question of the polling and the tutorial this morning is, what was Wayne Crew's favorite movie in 1983? These were all made in 83, so some in this room don't remember them. Many of us do remember all these. The Big Chill, National Lampoon's Vacation, Al Pacino's great legendary Scarface, or Risky Business. So which one was Wayne's favorite movie? The votes are pouring in. Okay, they think National Lampoon. Yeah, Wayne he's on perpetual vacation, so that would be a a particular one. But no, actually, it was Risky Business because he liked to play air guitar in his underwear just like Tom Cruise. Gotcha. Okay, so now a little bit of serious business, not risky business. So you saw on the video that we had 28 founding members back in 2013. And how many do you think of those members are still with us today, now 30 years later? So none, 5, 10, 15, or all of them? No, not all of them, but quite a few of them. So actually 15 of them. So 15 of the companies, this is kind of how it looks like. So there's still many of the companies are around, but we've had so many consolidations, mergers, acquisitions. And so really, you look at the legacy companies on the left. So these were the 28 charter members, and then how those morphed into those companies. So Caverner, BP America, Bechtel, Chevron, CB&I, Dow, DuPont, Exxon, Fluor, GE, KBR, Procter & Gamble, Shell, URS, and Zachry. So those are the companies that have been through thick and thin and have stood with this organization for 30 years. And so I would like, if you're affiliated with any one of those 15 companies, please stand, represent your organization, and let's give them a round of applause. So stand on up. See how many we got. All right. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So a couple of pieces of business before we get going. Please set your cell phones to stun or vibrate, and preferably turn them off so you can focus a little bit on the presentations coming. You're going to see a questionnaire. So this is the conference questionnaire that is spread out on the tables. And the questionnaire, really, we ask you to rate people and speakers and to give us feedback. Obviously, we're always trying to improve, trying to bring innovative ideas. So please take a little time, fill this out as the conference goes on. And at the end of the conference, I'm sure Jewel and company will be taking them up at the back of the rooms, or you can drop them off at the registration. But we really appreciate the feedback in terms of continuous improvement. And you get a screen cleaner, so nothing like a little incentive there, so you get a little screen cleaner if you do turn it in for your mobile devices. Also, for those who need, and professional development hours is important to all of us, there is professional development hours sign up in the foyer. So if you'd like to do that, you can go. It's outside again near the registration desk that you can sign up and get your hours associated with the conference.